What made Princess Diana not just a royal, but a symbol of compassion, resilience, and change? From the moment she stepped into the public eye, Diana captivated millions, not just with her beauty and grace, but with her bold defiance of tradition and her unwavering commitment to humanity. Born Diana Frances Spencer, she was thrust into the global spotlight after marrying Prince Charles, but her journey went far beyond royal duties. Diana's life became a symbol of compassion, resilience, and individuality, earning her the enduring title of the People's Princess. Her legacy is cemented in moments that redefined what it meant to be a royal, breaking barriers, creating new traditions, and advocating for causes close to her heart. From her fairy tale wedding to her fearless humanitarian efforts, Diana's story remains an inspiration. But what were the moments that made her truly iconic? Let's begin with how Diana redefined the role of a princess by breaking protocols and carving her own path. 1. Breaking royal protocols. From the moment Diana entered the royal family, she proved to be unlike any other princess. She brought a modern perspective to an institution steeped in tradition, making bold choices that set her apart and captivated the public. One of Diana's first acts of individuality was her decision to keep working as a nursery school assistant until her engagement to Prince Charles was officially announced. This was unprecedented. Royals traditionally didn't hold jobs in such public-facing roles. Yet, Diana's choice demonstrated her down-to-earth nature and her connection to ordinary life. Her engagement ring also caused a stir. Instead of commissioning a bespoke piece, as royal tradition dictated, Diana selected her ring from a Gerard jewelry catalog. The dazzling sapphire and diamond design was not only a personal choice but also a statement of her independence. Critics called it ordinary, but for Diana, it symbolized her practicality and love for simplicity. Diana continued to challenge norms as a mother. Breaking another long-standing tradition, she chose to give birth to Prince William in a hospital rather than at home or in a palace. This decision was groundbreaking, showcasing her commitment to modern parenting practices. She also made it clear that her children would experience a more normal upbringing, even bringing William and Harry on official tours instead of leaving them behind. Each of these choices, while subtle, sent shockwaves through the royal establishment. Diana wasn't just a princess following a script, she was rewriting the role entirely. The public adored her for it, seeing her as a relatable figure in an otherwise distant institution. Her early decisions laid the foundation for a modern monarchy, setting the stage for future royals like Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle to embrace individuality and personal expression. Yet this was just the beginning of Diana's journey. As we move forward, we'll see how she took her newfound position and turned her wedding into an event that captured the imagination of millions worldwide. 2. The wedding of the century. When Diana Spencer married Prince Charles on July 29, 1981, the world stood still. It was hailed as the wedding of the century, a grand spectacle that brought together royalty, celebrity, and millions of hopeful viewers who believed in the fairy tale love story unfolding before them. But beneath the glittering surface of this monumental day were moments of humanity that revealed Diana's relatable and vulnerable side. The ceremony, held at St. Paul's Cathedral, was nothing short of magnificent. Diana's wedding dress, a stunning ivory gown with a 25-foot-long train, became an instant symbol of the grandeur and opulence associated with royalty. Designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel, the dress featured intricate lace, thousands of sequins, and 10,000 pearls. It wasn't just a dress, it was a moment in fashion history. Despite the awe-inspiring atmosphere, Diana's natural vulnerability shone through. In a moment that made headlines, she mistakenly referred to her groom as Philip Charles Arthur George, instead of Charles Philip Arthur George during the vows. While a minor slip, it underscored her nerves and reminded the world that even a princess could falter under pressure. Another moment that surprised many was the absence of a kiss at the altar, a traditional gesture expected in modern weddings. Instead, the couple saved their first public kiss as husband and wife for the balcony of Buckingham Palace, starting a new royal tradition that has since been carried on by future generations. Diana's wedding wasn't just a personal milestone, it was a global event. More than 750 million people worldwide watched the broadcast, captivated by the young princess who seemed to embody every bit of the fairy tale image. Yet even in this grand display of love and unity, there were subtle hints of the challenges that lay ahead in her marriage. As the carriages departed and the celebrations began, Diana's story was just getting started. The wedding cemented her place as a global icon, but her next chapter would reveal how she captivated the world not just with her beauty, but with her compassion and individuality. 3. The Travolta dress. After the wedding, Diana's evolution from royal bride to cultural icon was swift. She quickly found her footing in a world that scrutinized her every move, using her charm and style to win over even the harshest critics. By the mid-1980s, Diana had firmly established herself as a fashion powerhouse. One moment in particular stands out as a testament to her ability to mesmerize audiences: the night she wore the now famous Travolta dress. In 1985, during a gala dinner hosted by President Ronald Reagan at the White House, Diana stepped out in a midnight blue velvet gown designed by Victor Edelstein. Paired with her natural elegance, the dress became an unforgettable part of her legacy. But it wasn't just the dress that made the evening iconic, it was the dance that followed. On the polished floors of the White House, Diana glided across the room, hand in hand with John Travolta. The actor later admitted he was nervous but captivated by Diana's grace and presence. The pair danced to the tune of classics like You Should Be Dancing from Saturday Night Fever. The images of Diana and Travolta, locked in an elegant whirl under the lights, quickly went viral, gracing newspapers and magazines worldwide. The press dubbed the dress the Travolta dress, a name that stuck and elevated the moment into pop culture history. More than just a fashion statement, the gown symbolized Diana's ability to balance her royal duties with her unique flair for captivating public attention. It showcased her light-hearted side, proving she could move seamlessly between tradition and modernity. Years later, the dress went on to fetch $240,000 at auction, a testament to its enduring allure. But more importantly, the evening cemented Diana's role as more than just a princess. She was a true global icon. As Diana's fashion choices continued to make headlines, they became a reflection of her evolving identity. However, her impact extended far beyond gowns and galas. In her next chapter, Diana would use her position not just to dazzle, but to challenge stigmas and advocate for change. 4. Breaking the stigma around AIDS. As Princess Diana settled into her role, she began to use her platform for causes that were both controversial and deeply humanitarian. By the late 1980s, one of the most misunderstood and stigmatized illnesses in the world was AIDS. Many feared physical contact with those affected, perpetuating isolation and discrimination. Diana, with her characteristic compassion and courage, decided to challenge this stigma head-on. In 1987, Diana made headlines when she visited the AIDS unit at Middlesex Hospital in London. Without gloves, a bold decision at the time, she shook hands with an AIDS patient. This simple act was revolutionary. It sent a powerful message. HIV, AIDS, could not be transmitted through casual contact, and those suffering from the disease deserved dignity and care, not fear and prejudice. Photographs of Diana holding the hands of patients and sitting beside them with genuine warmth spread like wildfire. Her actions humanized the disease and helped dispel the myths surrounding it. For many, this was the first time they saw a public figure approach the crisis with such empathy and understanding. Diana's involvement didn't stop there. She opened the landmark AIDS Center in London in 1989 and remained committed to raising awareness about the disease throughout her life. Her efforts not only brought global attention to the epidemic, but also challenged societal norms about how people with AIDS should be treated. This moment was pivotal in defining Diana's legacy as a humanitarian. It marked the beginning of her role as a voice for the voiceless, a role that would take her to the forefront of other significant issues. Diana showed that being a princess wasn't about maintaining appearances. It was about using her influence to bring comfort and change to those in need. As her humanitarian efforts grew, so did her willingness to open up about her personal struggles. In her next iconic moment, Diana would reveal a vulnerability that endeared her even more to the public. 5. Oversharing in public. By the early 1990s, Diana had become one of the most recognizable faces in the world. While she was admired for her beauty, grace, and compassion, her personal life was far from the fairy tale many had imagined. Her marriage to Prince Charles was deteriorating, and the pressure of constant public scrutiny only added to her struggles. But instead of retreating into silence, Diana made a bold and unprecedented decision: to share her side of the story with the world. In 1995, Diana sat down for a now iconic interview with Martin Bashir for the BBC's Panorama. This wasn't just any interview, it was a revelation. For the first time, a senior royal openly discussed deeply personal issues, challenging the long-standing tradition of royal discretion. Diana's words captivated an audience of over 20 million in the UK alone, and millions more worldwide. One of the most shocking moments came when Diana directly addressed Prince Charles's relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles. In a calm but deeply poignant tone, she said, "Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This admission sent shockwaves through the media and the monarchy. It wasn't just a candid moment, it was a declaration of her truth. The interview delved deeper into Diana's personal battles. She spoke openly about her struggles with bulimia, a condition she described as a coping mechanism for the immense pressure and loneliness she felt in her marriage. "You inflict it upon yourself because your self-esteem is at a low ebb, and you don't think you're worthy or valuable," she admitted. Her honesty resonated with countless people who had faced similar struggles but had felt too ashamed to speak out. Diana didn't stop there. She revealed her fears about being seen as unfit for royal life, sharing how some within the palace doubted her ability to fulfill her duties. She also acknowledged her own infidelity, admitting to her relationship with James Hewitt, which had been the subject of intense media speculation. This level of transparency was unheard of in the royal family and marked a turning point in how the public viewed both Diana and the institution she represented. While the interview drew criticism from some quarters, it also earned Diana immense respect and admiration. She was no longer just a princess or a public figure. She was a woman who had bared her soul and spoken her truth, regardless of the consequences. Her vulnerability made her relatable to millions, and her bravery set a precedent for greater openness among public figures. This groundbreaking moment redefined Diana's relationship with the public. She wasn't just a symbol of grace and beauty. She became a voice for those who felt silenced or unseen. However, this bold move also intensified the strain between Diana and the royal family, setting the stage for a period of personal and public challenges. As Diana navigated the fallout from her revelations, she continued to demonstrate her strength and courage. In her next iconic moment, she would face one of the most difficult and personal confrontations of her life. 6. Confronting Camila. While Diana's honesty in the Panorama interview cemented her place as a modern, relatable royal, her personal life remained fraught with challenges. Among these, one of the most defining and perhaps most heartbreaking moments was her confrontation with Camilla Parker Bowles, the woman whose presence loomed large over her marriage to Prince Charles. This deeply personal encounter revealed Diana's bravery and her unwillingness to be sidelined in her own life. The confrontation occurred in 1989 at a birthday party for Camilla's sister. It was one of the few social occasions where Diana and Camilla were both present, and Diana seized the opportunity to address the affair directly. By this point, Diana was fully aware of Charles's relationship with Camilla, which had been an open secret within certain circles. Despite her nervousness, Diana felt compelled to speak her mind. In a private moment, Diana approached Camilla and confronted her with disarming honesty. She later recounted the encounter in interviews, recalling how she said, "I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that." Camilla, clearly taken aback, reportedly responded defensively, suggesting that Diana had everything she could ever want: a loving public, 2 beautiful children, and a privileged life. But Diana's reply was simple and devastatingly heartfelt. "I want my husband." This exchange wasn't just about a wife confronting her husband's mistress. It was about Diana asserting her dignity and demanding respect. In an era where royal women were expected to endure such situations in silence, Diana's decision to confront Camilla was groundbreaking. She refused to accept the status quo or allow herself to be treated as an accessory in her own marriage. The confrontation marked a pivotal moment in Diana's journey. While it didn't resolve the tensions in her relationship with Charles, it showcased her growing confidence and her willingness to fight for what she believed was right. Diana was no longer the shy young woman who had entered the royal family. She was emerging as a strong, self-assured individual who refused to be ignored. Publicly, Diana continued to fulfill her royal duties with grace, but privately, her marriage to Charles was unraveling. The confrontation with Camilla highlighted the emotional toll of her situation, but it also revealed Diana's resilience. She wasn't afraid to speak her truth, even in the face of deeply personal pain. As her marriage neared its breaking point, Diana began to focus on reclaiming her identity. Her next iconic moment would come during one of the most unforgettable interviews in royal history, a moment that would solidify her status as a voice of strength and independence. 7. I'll fight till the end. By 1995, Diana's life was undergoing a seismic transformation. Her marriage to Prince Charles was over, and her separation had created a gulf between her and the royal family. Yet, instead of fading into the background, Diana chose to take control of her narrative. One of her boldest and most defining moments came during her candid interview with Martin Bashir for the BBC's Panorama. This was the moment Diana showed the world her strength and her determination to fight for her place in it. The interview, watched by over 20 million viewers in the UK alone, was groundbreaking. For the first time, Diana opened up about the emotional toll of her life as a royal, exposing the personal struggles that had shaped her journey. She didn't hold back, sharing her feelings of isolation, her battle with bulimia, and the immense pressure she faced under constant media scrutiny. I felt compelled to hurt myself, she admitted, describing the overwhelming stress of trying to meet impossible expectations. Diana's words were raw and unfiltered, offering a rare glimpse into the vulnerabilities of someone who had long been portrayed as perfect. But it was her resilience that shone brightest. Despite the challenges she faced, Diana made it clear that she wouldn't give up. "I won't go quietly," she declared, a powerful statement that underscored her determination to reclaim her life on her own terms. The interview also addressed the complexities of her relationship with the royal family. Diana described feeling unsupported and alienated, stating that some members of the institution saw her as a threat rather than an asset. Yet she refused to let their disapproval silence her. Her honesty resonated with millions, cementing her reputation as the people's princess who spoke from the heart. While the interview was celebrated by many for its transparency, it also drew criticism. Some viewed Diana's openness as a breach of royal protocol, a step too far in airing the family's private affairs. Others saw it as a courageous act of defiance, a way for Diana to assert her independence and humanity. Regardless of the controversy, the interview marked a turning point in Diana's life and public image. This moment wasn't just about speaking out, it was about reclaiming power. Diana's declaration that she would fight till the end reflected her commitment to not only survive but thrive. She was no longer the young woman who had entered the royal family years earlier. She was a force to be reckoned with, unafraid to stand up for herself and her beliefs. As Diana continued to redefine her role in the world, she also began to embrace her newfound independence. Her next iconic moment would come not through words, but through a bold and unforgettable action, one that would solidify her status as a woman of strength and confidence. 8. The revenge dress. As Diana transitioned from her role as a royal to that of a free-spirited humanitarian and global icon, she often used her actions to speak louder than words. One of the most iconic examples of this came on the evening of June 29, 1994, when Diana made a powerful and deliberate statement through fashion, a moment that would forever be known as the revenge dress. That evening, Prince Charles publicly admitted to his infidelity in an ITV documentary, acknowledging his long-standing relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles. The media was abuzz with the revelation, and many expected Diana to remain out of sight, letting the storm pass. Instead, she did the opposite. Diana arrived at a Vanity Fair fundraising event at London's Serpentine Gallery, wearing a black silk cocktail dress designed by Christina Stambolian. The dress, with its off-the-shoulder neckline and figure-hugging silhouette, was a departure from Diana's usual conservative style. It was daring, elegant, and unapologetically bold. Paired with black heels, a statement necklace, and her radiant confidence, Diana turned what could have been a difficult evening into a triumph. The media quickly dubbed it the revenge dress, seeing it as Diana's way of reclaiming the narrative on her own terms. Instead of allowing Charles's confession to dominate the headlines, Diana stole the spotlight. The images of her that night went viral, overshadowing the prince's admissions and cementing her status as a style icon and a symbol of resilience. But this moment wasn't just about fashion, it was about empowerment. By choosing to step out in such a striking outfit on that specific night, Diana sent a clear message. She wouldn't be reduced to the role of a scorned wife. She was strong, independent, and in control of her life. The dress became a metaphor for her ability to rise above adversity and maintain her dignity in the face of personal pain. Over the years, the revenge dress has remained one of Diana's most memorable looks, representing her transformation from a young princess bound by tradition to a confident woman who could command the world's attention. It was a turning point in how Diana was perceived, not just as a style icon, but as a figure of empowerment. This night also marked a broader shift in Diana's life. Free from the constraints of her marriage, she began to focus more intensely on her humanitarian work, channeling her energy into causes that reflected her compassion and commitment to making a difference. Her next chapter would see her take on a mission that was as daring and impactful as her fashion choices. 9. Campaign against landmines. In the final years of her life, Diana's humanitarian work reached new heights. While she had long been an advocate for the vulnerable and marginalized, her campaign against landmines showcased her unwavering dedication to making the world a safer place. This cause, though politically charged and controversial, would become one of her most defining legacies. In January 1997, Diana visited Angola with the International Red Cross. Wearing a simple white shirt, beige trousers, and protective gear, she walked through a cleared minefield in Huambo, a region devastated by decades of war. Photographs of Diana, wearing a visor and flak jacket, brought global attention to the horrors of landmines. Her visit highlighted not only the physical danger posed by these hidden explosives, but also their long-term impact on communities. Diana met with landmine survivors, many of whom were children, and listened to their stories with compassion. She spent time in rehabilitation centers, holding hands with amputees and comforting those who had lost loved ones. Her ability to connect with people on such a personal level made her advocacy all the more powerful. Her efforts weren't just symbolic, they had tangible results. Diana's work helped to galvanize international support for the Ottawa Treaty, which banned the use of anti-personnel landmines. Although she didn't live to see the treaty signed in December 1997, her involvement was widely credited with bringing the issue to the forefront of global consciousness. This campaign was a culmination of Diana's values: empathy, courage, and a desire to use her platform for good. By championing the fight against landmines, she solidified her role as a global humanitarian and left behind a legacy of hope and change. As Diana's life neared its tragic end, her impact on the world was undeniable. In her final chapter, she embraced her role as the People's Princess, a title that perfectly encapsulated the depth of her connection with the public. 10. The People's Princess. By the summer of 1997, Princess Diana had firmly established herself as a humanitarian icon. She had broken free from the constraints of royal life and was charting her own path, one defined by compassion, resilience, and a deep connection to the public. It was during this time that Diana earned the title, the People's Princess, a reflection of the unique bond she shared with people from all walks of life. Diana's ability to connect with others was unmatched. Whether she was holding the hand of an AIDS patient, comforting a child in a hospital, or speaking with landmine victims, her warmth and sincerity were palpable. She didn't simply fulfill her duties as a public figure, she made every interaction deeply personal. For those who met her, Diana's kindness and genuine interest left an indelible impression. Her approachability was a stark contrast to the traditional image of royalty. Diana wasn't afraid to break protocol, and her unconventional ways resonated with the public. She chose causes that were often overlooked or stigmatized, using her platform to shine a light on issues that needed urgent attention. In doing so, she redefined what it meant to be a modern royal. In August 1997, Diana's life was tragically cut short in a car crash in Paris. The world was plunged into mourning, with millions grieving the loss of a woman who had touched so many lives. Flowers, notes, and tributes filled the gates of Kensington Palace as people from around the globe paid their respects. Her funeral was watched by over 2.5 billion people, a testament to the profound impact she had made. Diana's legacy lives on, not just through her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, but through the causes she championed and the lives she touched. She will forever be remembered as a woman who brought humanity and warmth to the monarchy and left the world a better place. Princess Diana's life was a tapestry of contrasts, glamour and vulnerability, tradition and rebellion, heartbreak and triumph. Through her actions, she redefined what it meant to be a royal, proving that compassion and courage could transcend even the most rigid institutions. From her early days breaking royal protocols to her fearless advocacy for global issues, Diana showed the world that being a princess wasn't about privilege, but about purpose. She gave a voice to the voiceless, comforted the forgotten, and inspired countless people to lead with kindness. Diana's story is one of resilience and hope, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, we can choose to rise, connect, and make a difference. Her legacy as the people's princess is not just about what she accomplished in her lifetime, but about the enduring impact of her spirit. Diana will forever remain a symbol of compassion, strength, and humanity. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.